Hello there. Welcome to the Healthy Enterprise Podcast. If you are returning to listen to one of my conversations again, thanks for coming back. And if it's your first time, welcome. Today, my guest is Aimee Taylor. She's the founder and CEO of Alt Digital Marketing, a company that specializes in medical marketing with an emphasis on the aesthetic industry. Aimee has over 12 years of digital marketing experience, as well as 2 decades of broadcast television. So let's get started, and I'd like you to meet Aimee. All right, great. Aimee, welcome to this episode, and thanks for joining me on the Healthy Enterprise Podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. So why don't you start by doing a little introduction of yourself and what you've been doing over your career in the marketing space, and give us that insight. Yeah.
All right. My name is Aimee Taylor, and I am the founder and CEO of Alt Digital Marketing. We specialize in medical marketing, specifically derms, plastics, med spas. I've been in digital marketing for 13 years now, hard to believe. I started out originally in television, broadcast television, so I have a deep understanding of the television and the traditional media side. So about 13 years ago, I had clients that were they were moving away from television or reducing their budget. So like say a big client like a McDonald's was wanting to decrease their spending, and I would ask them why they're decreasing, and they'd say, well, we're moving some dollars to digital. So I started to look at this digital thing, and at the same time my husband we owned a service-based business, and he started doing this SEO. He was like, this stuff works. And I was like, okay, let me take a look at that. So that's kind of why I went down that channel and started in on the digital side. And it's just a much more effective way for local businesses to get results. It's much more trackable. And, obviously when I was in television, it was in a time when there wasn't as many options. It was a long time ago. So you had cable, you had television, you had newspaper, and it's crazy how much that has changed. I mean,
it is crazy.
Newspapers are gone, and radio is really not the same. Television isn't the same. I remember when I worked at CBS, they were like, could not believe I was leaving them for this weird digital thing that, I must be nuts, So anyway,
it's just a fad. It's not going to last.
No, it's not going to last. Well, I was working in television when we saw the .com bubble, and so I don't know, you see these things come out and you think they're going to not last. But I mean, obviously AI is here to stay, and we're all, benefiting from it. So it's not going away.
No. I mean, I started my media, when I started off as a photographer in the late 90s, I mean, I was training on, chemicals and papers and dark rooms and all that stuff. And in early 2000, that was when the digital camera started hitting the photographer's stage. And it was like, nobody wanted to change. No one wanted to bring that on. And there was a lot of purists who didn't. They left the industry because they didn't believe that that's where it should go. And it was rocky in that first few years. Now, I mean, look at our phones. Like everyone has a high grade camera in their pocket. Mm-hmm. So the world has changed. Yeah.
Yeah, and the TV studios now, they operate the camera. The guy at the desk is operating his own camera remotely. So there isn't even a camera person behind the camera. He's operating his own teleprompter, everything. So there's none of that. I mean, but it has gone full circle. So now you have photographers that are so needed out there for all the YouTube content. There's content that needs to be produced, and some of it isn't so good. So if they get back to using real photographers for things, it'll be great. I know we've got this AI thing now that, AI generated everything. So that, there you go. It impacts them again, but there's always use for a good photographer.
That's a good subject to talk about, is content, because I mean, actually television was content too, right? And you made that transition from traditional television to digital content. Mm-hmm. So how did you transition? I mean, what was it that helped you to, about yourself and about your character, and that helped you through that transition? Because there was probably a steep learning curve.
Oh, there was. It's a good question. I guess at heart, I'm a true marketer. I love marketing and I love strategy. I like being able to work with the client and see direct results. And, television wasn't offering that for me. I mean, you couldn't tell conversions. You had no idea. I mean, it was just throwing a huge net out there and, you had no idea. So, with digital, I mean, honestly, I'd go out there and we'd write content and we'd put something on the website. And, back in the olden days, it was crazy because you could just use a keyword rich domain. You could stuff some keywords, Botox, 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 and boom, you're ranking number one in no time at all. And it was very exciting. And then once your clients, got a taste of the crack, they were like, we're never leaving you. In fact, I have clients that I have from 13 years ago. So,
No kidding. Hey, yeah.
yeah. So, I mean, I think it just came down to the love of marketing and wanting something to really engage with and being able to help the customer. I mean, I could really help them grow and they could see the results and their phone started ringing. So, I mean,
Yeah.
this was great. I mean, when I was at the end in television, I mean, when I was at the top, it was, I don't know, I was working with big clients and the ad agencies did all the creative. I had nothing
Right.
to do with it. I was basically a commodities broker. So I was
Right.
basically just placing spot time, to the person who would pay the most. And I didn't really want to do that. I liked the creative side of it. So I guess that's why I ended up over here. So now that is more what I like to do, is that side of it, the
Right.
strategy.
Yeah, and strategies, we hear that word a lot now. It comes up a lot. And I think in some cases people don't know, how does strategy influence marketing, and why is it so important to have strategy ahead of that cart?
That's a good question. So, with strategy, you really have to analyze your client, what their goals are, what they're going for, because there's just so much noise out there. There's so many things. There's so many venues and so many places you can market. And marketing has gotten so complicated. I mean, it used to be like people didn't think you needed a marketing person. They thought that was stupid. And honestly, it's typically still, unless you're a major company, it's still kind of the first area they cut. I mean, nowadays, even on the big companies, they're using fractional CMOs and things like that rather than having an in-house team. I mean, so when it comes down to strategy, nowadays I think it's really important to nail down what exactly you're trying to achieve and where you're trying to go, because we do custom strategies for the clients. We look at their goals and then back our way into what things they need to market on, what platforms and
Right.
where they need to be seen. I also think with clients, if they're not really, I don't know, niching down their product or what they're offering, even when it comes to, say, a plastic surgeon, if they're doing everything, it's like people want someone who's really good at, noses or, breast dog or whatever it is. If you're a jack of all, it kind of is hard to control the market or get market share that way. So it does benefit our clients if they are more on a narrower focus, more tuned in, and then we can focus on where we think they need to be.
Yeah, that's that unique selling proposition. Like, what is it that makes you so different than every other competitor in the market? Everybody says, well, we're innovative, we're creative,
Mm-hmm.
we're good customer service. And I mean, those are things that everyone can say.
Right,
Whether it's
right.
true or not is another story, but
True.
everyone can say those things. So those are hard descriptors to really differentiate businesses from one another in the market. So that's where strategy comes in. It actually helps them identify that, right?
Yeah, I mean, and nowadays, it's hard to find authentic, people out there and authentic brands. Everybody's
Yeah,
just throwing things at the wall to see what sticks. And it's messy. I mean, so I
that's a
mean, I
good word
try
for it.
to I try to focus, more on the aesthetic side of it, because that business I understand well, our writers understand it well. They know the difference between all the dermal fillers and what this does and what that does, and we understand the clientele well. So it helps us to further hone in their marketing strategies rather than me trying to do everything. Now, not to say that I can't market for any kind of service-based business. I
Sure.
really don't do I mean, I don't want to do fast food. I don't want to do real estate. I don't want to do automotive. I mean, each business sort of has a nuance to it and a different, marketing angles and different things you need to know. So it is good if you're going to work with a professional, you need to have a company that, specializes in your area.
That's a good point, because
Mhm.
there's so much to learn about every type of service or every type of business, that how can you actually, although some of the functionality is very simple, it's always the same, you're always
Sure.
using the same technology to implement, but yeah, how do you, to be able to actually understand how to sell a widget as opposed to a service, or as opposed to a professional um, identity, or even a personal brand for that matter, right? There's so many nuances around each of those different
Right.
areas, that yeah, you got to have that, you got to really flush that information out. So
Yeah, and
yeah, so that's where.
with like the AI overviews and things like that, they're trying to highlight the most important things. So you've got to understand your client well enough to have all those things, have all that information out there so that they can be picked up on those as well. So it's just interesting.
All right, so you already said the word AI.
The elephant in the room.
The big word. So
Yeah.
that's it's flooding. It's everywhere. Everyone's
Yeah.
up to their knees in it. And there's so much to choose from, and there's so much. There's just like you said, it makes it messier,
It
because
is. It
we don't,
is.
it's so new, and everyone's really, we're all, everyone in the industry, everyone who runs a business or is in charge of marketing a business, everyone's new to it. Like,
Yeah,
it's
they're all
pretty
scrambling.
interesting.
Yeah, I mean,
What are you doing at your end?
yeah, I mean, I think it gives marketing people job security because I don't think the average person is going to know what to do with it. I mean, there's these
No.
companies out there that are selling, software that they say, well, we can do all the SEO for you. We can develop all the content. This software is the magic bullet. And
Yeah.
we review all these companies and try and use some of them and weed out the good and the bad. And there's no one company that has it all nailed down. We have to use
No.
all that. Our tech stack is huge, all the different things we have to use and put together. For the most part, AI is making things easier in some senses. I mean,
Mhm.
it's taking away some of the mundane tasks like reporting each month. I mean, that used to
Mhm.
take several days out of the month to put all the client reports together because you were copying and pasting from one software to another. Um, so that's easier. Maybe, blog briefs and outlines and things like that. When we're having a meeting, if we're on a conference call, you just push the button now and it takes
Yeah, that's
notes.
brilliant.
So that's
Notes
brilliant. I mean,
and
we used to have,
summarizing, yeah.
yeah, and you just go, here's your list, I'll take my list, and we all go off to do our tasks. So I think in general, it gives us more time to do the strategy part of it and the deep analysis and looking at things closer rather than getting caught up in tasks that we were charging clients for. And we'd say, well, that took that much time, so I don't have any more time to do other things,
That's
so
right.
that's better. But I mean, just the sheer number of things we have to go through. And now, I mean, SEO has always been, or marketing in general, has always been, you know, get accomplished on one aspect of it. And then, it changes the next day. I mean, I even tell my clients, what I tell you today is going to be different tomorrow. Just
Different
get ready.
tomorrow.
don't don't quote me because tomorrow we're going to do it differently. But I mean, that's just kind of how it is. And it does get a little scary because it's changing so quickly. Like right now we're moving from, you know, SEO, so to speak, into like search everything optimization. So we're trying to analyze how you can rank across platforms. I do believe Google will be here and Google will be at the top because Google has the most money. Google has,
Mhm.
YouTube is Google, and YouTube is the most powerful, video network out there. So people
Yeah.
watch more on YouTube than anything else. And that's where the young people are. So the young people
Yeah.
are on YouTube and they're on TikTok. So, you have to, depending on what clientele you're going for, you have to know how to reach this medium. And,
Yeah.
so you have to be kind of an expert on everything. So, the good news is we have, a really strong team. We hire the best in specific areas of our team. So, I don't try and do it all. That doesn't
No,
work anymore, the one
impossible.
man show,
No. No.
right? So, you just hire people that are good at what they do. And I feel like we have a really good team, and we're constantly doing more education, constantly learning and taking classes on these things, online stuff, and then testing out, we're beta testing some things for, this search everything, because
I
you will,
love that. I haven't heard
yeah.
that new definition of the
Yes,
acronym
it's
search
instead of
everything
SEO, it's
optimization.
SEVO now, is what we're going with,
Okay,
you know?
just for entertainment's sake, because there might be listeners who have heard that phrase SEO a
Mm-hmm.
lot and really don't understand what it means because
Mm-hmm.
it's always been in an acronym and everyone says, "Oh, you got to get it SEO, you got to get this SEO, you got to get that SEO."
Right, right.
Give them a bit of an insight as to what does that actually mean to them.
Sure, sure. Search engine optimization is what it stands for. So, I mean, it's really encompasses a lot of different things, but it's basically, can Google read your site and can Google rank your site? So basically, you have to have all the right language under the hood, so to speak, or on the back end of the website, so Google knows what you're doing. So that involves certain tags on the site. We have what's called an H1 tag, which would be, your main title that tells, what it is you want Google to categorize this page at. So if it's med spa, you would want, med spa in Tampa would be your H1 tag, so that it would know
Right.
what you are. And then it just goes from there. I mean, every image is tagged so Google can read it. Google can't, that's called an alt tag. So Google can't read an image. It doesn't know what that image is unless you tell it. Now with AI, will that get better? Probably. But,
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
all these different things that are happening out there. But there's really a coding for everything. You have, for SEO, you have the on page. So it's what you see on the page. Basically, your all the words on the page, and as the rule goes, if it's not on the page, you can't rank for it. So, I'll
Right.
have clients say, why am I not ranking for this? And, we don't have anything outlined for that. So, more content, and SEO involves content, it involves backlinking. So there's a lot that's involved in it. It's the overarching term for basically everything that's not paid. So SEO would be all of the things you do around your website and your brand that is not paid,
Which
not
is
a paid
commonly
strategy.
referred to as organic, right?
Right, correct.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And that's all
so
based on the words you're talking about are called keywords that
correct.
people have probably also heard that term before. So it's your
Mm-hmm,
keyword rich content that's searchable
mm-hmm,
organically
mm-hmm.
on the web. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's and it allows you to be found if people don't know your name. So
Right.
it's the way you're found through keywords. So, and
And
that's
that
what's going to
establishes
drive traffic. Mhm.
and that establishes what shows up when people type in a search in the query
Yeah,
field.
correct. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's an onion for sure. There's many layers,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah,
And
yeah.
it's layering more and more as time goes on because I mean even in 13 years when you think about it 13 years is it used to be a long time, but
Uh-huh.
it's actually so much has happened in 13 years in this
Oh gosh,
industry
yeah.
like holy cow, like that it's nothing's moved as fast as that,
In the last 2 years. I mean,
last 2 years, yes,
I
since
mean,
COVID.
yeah, I mean, in the beginning, we didn't even have to consider social media. We just
No.
optimized the website, put some keywords on it, and boom, we were good to go. But, and I didn't even really want to do social media because that's a whole nother industry,
Does anybody really
essentially.
want to do social media? I don't
Yeah.
know. It's this necessary evil now, I
It
think, that
is. It is.
we're
It's just,
all stuck
yeah.
into.
The thing
Yeah,
that
you're
kills
right,
me
because
about,
it's all connected. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's all connected. These are all signals that point to your brand. So,
Yeah.
the thing about social media is just that I feel like I don't like to invest a ton in social media, like your website. Like I have my clients, own their own domain. You build up your domain authority. And so you build your site so that it becomes powerful and it's a tool. Social media, I mean, someone could get their account suspended tomorrow, or it could go down, or it could get, I
Yeah.
mean, it just, I
It could get
cringe
bought
at, yeah.
and
And
sold
so,
and yeah.
yeah, and these people put all their lives into it, and a lot of people make a lot of money off their social media. And
Mm-hmm.
I like to have balance, because if you put all your eggs in one basket,
Right. That's a
it
good
makes me a
point.
little nervous. I'm a traditionalist, so
So the website, when I hear you saying the website is a really important, the most important as far as you're concerned, because that's where you're going to
yes,
drive all your traffic, whether it's
right,
coming from YouTube or Facebook or X or ads that you place on Google, whatever. It's all driving back to the website. So
yeah,
that's where you find is the most value in SEOing that,
sure.
so that you've got that's your strong holding point, right?
Yeah, I think, yeah, your website is your foundation. And even if you're not going to market actively, it's your brochure, it's it's where you point people if you want to show them your work. I mean, so I think everybody needs a website. And, as far as marketing, I feel like everybody really needs marketing. I mean, even
Yeah.
if you're your own brand, I mean, I need to be branding myself, hence I'm on this podcast. So,
Right.
it's everybody is a brand nowadays, and it's important that you brand yourself as well. So, marketing is pretty crucial. It's up there in the sciences now. It used to be just an
Absolutely.
afterthought.
Yeah, no, it's actually yeah, it's part of what did I somebody was talking about I was talking to somebody the other day who is in the marketing industry, and she has a background in anthropology, and
Oh,
she
wow.
said that has actually helped her in the industry more than anything, is having an understanding in human behavior.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Human behavior and science, like it
Yeah.
all, like the technology, it's
Oh,
crazy how much it's changed. It's just not like you have to come up with a slogan. I mean, thanks
no.
to Chat GPT, we don't have to do that
Yeah,
anymore.
there's something chat can do.
It's like, give me 10 slogans and I mean, we don't use it for, all the writing and things like that. But I mean, it is
No.
useful for generating ideas and things like that. But I don't even think Google is going to care about chat writing things as long as it's good quality content. And, I
Mhm.
think you still need a human being that's going to review it, look at it. I mean, I'll take things that my clients have written. Like I have a doctor that likes to write his own stuff, and you can actually put it in, and build a profile for that client and get, Chat or Claude, or one of them to create content that sounds like him. And I'll put
Right.
stuff in that I write, and it'll sound like me. And I'm like, this is cool. I mean, the geek in me likes some of that a lot.
Yeah, yeah. And it's efficiency, right? It's helping with streamlining some of our our activities that are a little bit more time consuming,
Right,
and I think that's a thing about AI. It's really important is that it is just another tool, right? I mean,
right,
it's like it's a laptops, and we got other applications and software and cameras and all that. It's another tool to help streamline our efficiency and give us a little bit more time to do other things. I don't think it's not going to it'll replace some of those mundane activities. I think somebody said too, why is AI coming along and taking away all the fun things to do, like
yeah.
drawing, photography? Like, it's why can't it just look after my laundry and my
Yeah,
dishes, and
unfortunately, no. I wish. Yeah, but we'll have robots for that.
we'll have
See?
robots eventually for
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
eventually. Eventually. Yeah. I mean, I hear you. I mean, I also think somewhat like social media, it's entertaining to people right now. And so it's a rabbit hole that can suck time for
Yeah.
sure. But it's an interesting time suck. At least it's not like just watching videos all day. So, yeah.
Yeah, it is fascinating that what can be created out of that if you put,
Hmm.
but you still need a human to drive it.
Correct.
You still need an operator, and it's only as good as the operator. So I
Right.
think coming back to professionals in the marketing industry that have taken the time to understand these tools and understand the needs for them and where it's going and how it's going to be utilized is really the connection. That's you
Yeah. I
understanding
mean,
your client.
yeah. I mean, some of the things I'm seeing as far as downsides to it is just authenticity, credibility. I mean, we don't really have in media anymore. There's just really no, you have no way of knowing if something's true.
Mm.
You can
Hmm.
fact check, so to speak. But I mean, there's just so much information out there, and even some of these replies and text replies and email things that come at you, and even some of these scams, they sound real. They sound
Oh
so
yeah.
real. You think they're a real person. So this credibility and authenticity is something that people are going to be looking for. And so I think that's where we need to direct some of our attention in marketing is real images, not AI
Hmm.
images or stock images. And
Hmm.
we're doing some research on adding images to a website, and you're adding more local real images, and Google will know that it comes from your phone, or where that it didn't come from AI or a stock image gallery. So
Right.
then Google will give that more credibility, and hence the other AI tools will as well. So we're using that
That's
to
interesting. Yeah.
signal, so if you put these real images on your website, we're finding if you add them throughout a page, that are relevant images, not just any old image, but relevant
Hmm.
images to the services that you're displaying, we're seeing that the pages are ranking better. It's
Hmm.
just giving it credibility, and I think that all of the search engines are going to be looking for things to align with that. Just like the Google business profiles, and the big problem we're
Hmm.
having right now with, I don't know if you know about this, but a lot of the Google profiles are getting suspended. People who have had Google profiles for a long time. And, I
Oh, the
think,
business profiles. Are the business
yes,
profiles?
yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
online
We've
has
known
been a
people that.
big issue. Mine even got suspended, and I've had a business profile for years. So, it's like, why? So I think it's because AI has taken over that task, and there's no human being behind it at all.
Yeah.
Number one. And then Google's trying to find a way to really validate people that they're real and that the content is real. So if you have anything, I had a client who had an old logo on there, and that's what threw it off, or we think, we don't even know for
You
sure.
don't
They
even
won't,
know.
you don't
Yeah,
know.
because
I
if
mean,
we've reversed it too for a client, and it was like we don't even know how it happened. It just all of a sudden came back. The
yeah,
reviews came back. Everything came back. I mean, it stalled his business. It was a very service based industry in business, and it
that's
halted.
devastating. Hmm.
Devastating. Like
Hmm.
he didn't know what to do. He was scrambling.
Hmm.
Uh, a mover, so he's coming into moving
Oh
season,
yeah, that's bad.
and someone searches for a mover. I mean, it reminded me when we were talking about traditional marketing back in the day. It's like all you needed was a Yellow Pages ad,
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
and people found your business. I mean, that's what Google Business is, right? Is
Right.
it's like the Yellow Pages of today. And if you don't show up on that search, and in my region, and I'm looking for a mover, and it doesn't pop up,
Right.
well, I'll only call the one I see, or the first one I see, or the first three anyway. But I
Right.
mean, that's how important that is. So
Yeah. I mean, the Google business profile, I mean, it was a miraculous thing when it came out. I mean, I think they've been around for 20 years now, but
mhm.
when the Google business profile first came out, it was amazing. I mean, and still without a marketing team, if you get a lot of reviews and you fill out everything on your Google business profile, and you
Yeah,
engage and you answer all the questions and you post to it like social media, I mean, you can get business from it, and you can show up at the top without even a website. I think. I
yeah,
mean, there it won't stay there forever. I mean, you're going to have to maintain it, but I mean, if you have a lot of reviews, I mean, you can do well with a Google business profile alone.
yeah, 100%.
So I'm
Yeah,
sure it hurt
absolutely.
that mover.
It
That's
did.
awful.
Yeah, and then it
What
just
did
came
he
back
do?
on.
Like do an
He
ad
was
campaign or something to try and
Yeah, that's
regain?
what we had to. Yeah, they had to implement an ad campaign and some social media, and
Oh
just
yeah.
kind of you just had to pivot and get going, and then it just came back. But it was a lot of needling and poking and
Yeah.
trying to get someone on the phone
No, that
at
doesn't
Google.
happen. No one gets on the
That's
phone anymore, you know?
that's
Yeah.
crazy. It's
Yeah, I don't
crazy.
know. It's a crazy world we live in.
It
Sometimes I
is.
wonder. But
So how, all this, we're talking about all this tech and all this change. I mean, I think probably the part that it needs to stay consistent is that human connection, right? I mean, you have
yeah,
clients that you talk to and meet with, and you develop that trust. And I think because the industry is so messy, to use that word again,
yeah,
and there is so much unknown and maybe some skepticism as to what's real and what's not real, is that having that human connection with you,
hmm
that's handling their accounts and are looking after their business, that must be incredibly important.
think so. I mean, there are a lot of SEO companies that are, just big cookie cutter agencies that they never see their clients. And, the clients know that they're not getting as good a service. They have to put in a ticket for this or that, and they can't pick up the phone and call anybody and get
Yeah.
immediate assistance. So I like offering the personal touch. I don't see my clients as much as I'd like to these days, but I mean, I can go see them, and I'll see clients quarterly, sometimes monthly. But so it's nice that I can see them. I do have clients all over the country, so I can work with anyone anywhere really. But
Yeah.
for the most part, I do have clients in Florida. So, but it is nice to be able to see them in person. And also, I think that the best marketing campaigns are those that where the client is involved to some extent. I mean, them giving you feedback. I'm For
Mm.
the most part, I mean, it's nice to have clients that will just give you their money and then you run the campaign and you do a really good job, and that's fine. But I really think that engagement piece is what we're going to need moving forward to really help them out. Know what's converting, what their clients are saying, and just staying closer with the client, and what their goals are and what they're hearing on their side, so that you can present the best, plan for them.
That's a really good point. And because the marketing is like, it's the horse, right?
Mm,
It's pulling the cart, and it's delivering people to the website or
correct. Yeah.
to where the actual transaction, the lead, it
hmm
gets to into the funnel.
hmm
But marketing doesn't always have any say or control once you let go and it's in someone else's hand in the sales journey, right? Or
hmm
the buyer's journey. Is that something that you'd rather have a little bit more say in, or a little more insight, or at least the feedback or the data that comes with it? It's like, well, I dropped this lead into this inbox. What happened?
Right, right. I agree. I mean, it's hard. I mean, you have to have a significant budget to be, if I'm going to be in your practice and doing a deep analysis of everything that's happening there. But listen, there are a lot of tools out there that you can use to try to analyze it, like call tracking, for instance. If you have a
Mm-hmm.
call tracking system on there, I had a client and it was an urgent care client. And I was saying, well, your numbers are going up. Your numbers look great. And they were saying, our phone, it's Deadsville. Like, we're quiet every afternoon. It's quiet. And I said, well, have you listened to the phone calls? And he goes, oh no, my staff is the greatest. They're the greatest. Everything is great. And I go, let's just listen to a phone call. So we get on and we listen, and she's saying, yeah, the lobby's really full. Don't come in right now. This was at 4 p.m. She would start telling people that would call, because people will call up. This was a few years ago. And they didn't have one of those, get in line before you arrive things. So people
Right.
would call and say, how busy are you? Can I get in? Like, can someone see me this afternoon? And they would say, oh no, it's full. And so this lady was literally turning everyone away, and he was
Wow.
floored, and he fired her. And I was just like, well, I'm sure they're saying all the right things when you're standing behind them. And I'm not
Sure.
trying to say that there aren't conscientious employees, because there certainly are. But I mean, if you don't know what happens to that lead, like you said, once it enters the door, or if they have someone bad answering the phone, I tell all my practices, they need to have the best person answering the phone. The
Yeah.
nicest, you need a salesperson answering the phone.
You're
I
right. I
mean,
mean, because the data doesn't lie. The data doesn't lie when it says, well, so many people clicked on your ad and so many people clicked on this button and so many people,
Right.
gave you their email address.
And then they say
So
they got nothing, and you're like, I mean, I can't help you. I don't know what to do. Yeah.
yeah, and if you can't, yeah, how do you help? How do you help with that? If you're not let in on how things are functioning at that
Sure. Sure.
end of
Yeah,
the
I agree.
cycle.
There's two sides to everything, and I only see the side where I'm driving traffic to you, and then you have to tell me what you're seeing on your side, and
Mm-hmm.
we can try and triangulate the problem because I've seen it all, so I can
Yeah.
probably help. But I mean, I think for the most part, most businesses pay too little to the person answering the phone and at the front desk.
Right.
I mean, you can save money on all these AI things and all this automation, but don't automate that person. And I
No.
mean, for the most part, there's a lot of businesses where you book online, and so you don't talk to a person, but having someone that answers the phone, a real life human being, is
Mm-hmm.
beneficial. So some of that could make you stand out.
Yeah.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you see anything coming up in healthcare that might have an impact on you, on customers?
Yeah, I mean, with healthcare, it's interesting because they're so antiquated. I mean, a lot of the healthcare is kind of behind. Like, if you think
Mm-hmm.
about it, I mean, well, maybe you don't know, but a lot of the doctors didn't even have websites in just a few years ago, or they didn't have a Google business listing. They didn't have any of this stuff, no exposure at all. So, the
Because they
customer,
didn't need to, right?
they didn't, they would just rely on referrals. I mean,
Yeah.
and I mean, I would imagine the first person who came out, the first plastic surgeon that had a really good website and had a really good online presence did really, really well. So, I mean, but then again, if you're not a great surgeon, you'll get the referrals if you're great, so you got to be great first. I mean, and then you have to have good marketing. But I'm trying to think of where I was going with that. Oh, I know what I was going to say. With healthcare, they didn't have any of these tools, and now they've moved into this area where people are really, shopping healthcare like they do a car. So,
Yeah.
they'll look and they can look up the doctor online. They don't necessarily have to go with the orthopedic that was recommended to them. They look up online, they see your reviews, they see what your social looks like, they see what your website is. Maybe you have a chat feature and they chat you up there. They can look at your website, read about things. So they really know a lot more coming in. And it used to be you just, 15 minutes a year you got with your doctor, and you didn't really know much about the practice or anything. They told you what to do, what prescription to fill, and off you went. So, I mean, I think it's totally different. I mean, it's a different experience for sure. And I like it. I think, also if healthcare can be, more about wellness care, and I'm working with a lot of wellness type practices, regenerative, I have a doctor that has cold plunge and
Mm.
sauna and cryo and all these fun things. So just for recovery and better performance. And, so the healthcare,
Preventative.
is great. I mean, there's a lot of things coming down the pike to help people be healthier rather than, but that's a whole nother subject.
Well, it's the preventative medicines
Right.
is where that's at, right? It's
Mhm.
avoiding the highly expensive end outcome of
Sure.
having an unhealthy lifestyle.
Correct.
And
I think that hopefully is with all this information, and I like to work with clients that are on that side of it, that are, looking for ways to improve people's quality of life. So, that kind of fits with what I like to do. So, yeah.
and many doctors, I think now are professionals are aligning themselves with very different modalities in healthcare. They're not only looking at patient care once there's an issue, but
Hmm.
also helping patients avoid those issues before they even get
Yeah.
to that state.
Yeah.
And there's multifaceted clinics that are looking at all different aspects of health at the same
Yeah.
time, right? Which I think is
Yeah.
a
And
really
that's
good
why I like
positive movement.
working with the healthcare side of things and the aesthetics side, and the plastics is very innovative. I mean, there's just so much going on in all those industries. It's fun. So, I do
Any,
have I do have some allergists and, other things that are normal, but, I like the elective stuff. It's fun.
what do you see? Anything big happening in marketing that you see that's new or has that you're kind of
I mean,
researching anything?
again, I think it's just AI. I mean, we're just going to be,
Yeah,
constantly trying to learn what's next and keeping ahead of Google and everyone else. This train is leaving the station, so we're constantly working on it to try and to keep our clients at the top. So it's big. It's a big lift. So
what is it about your approach to your clients and their projects and working with your team? What is it about you, your leadership style, is it that you think is your best feature?
Leadership. Well, that's a work in progress. I don't know. I don't really think of myself as the best leader. I'm very much a perfectionist, and I have high standards, and I think that gets me respect out there. But I kind of fashion myself as sort of a Martha Stewart, so maybe I'm not very well liked sometimes, but I'm not as successful as her. So there's hope here. But anyway, I don't know. I try to hire the very best people to do segments of it because, like I said, my passion is in the strategy and in the being in front of the clients. Like, I like to be forward facing, and I don't like to do a lot of the technical stuff and a lot of the paperwork. I like to be out selling and working with the clients directly and helping them to make money. So as far as a leader, I bring people on that are great people that have a good attitude. I feel like attitude is everything, I mean, even if they don't know everything, they can learn, but I like strong people with good attitudes that will work hard and have integrity. And I feel like my clients get that I work hard for them as if it were my own business. So
Right,
I get upset if things aren't right for them, even if they don't even know it's not right.
right.
So, I think that conveys, if someone cares, if someone's working hard
Absolutely.
for you.
Is it because you don't have you're not afraid to tell clients the truth? Because sometimes
Yeah, I'm not.
that can be
Yeah.
a thing, right? Where people are like, well, you don't want to tell the client that their website sucks because you might hurt their feelings, or you don't want to tell a client this or that because they might not like to hear that. But that's not something you're afraid to do.
No, I mean, I've seen marketers where they'll just spin it one way or another to show the client that it's doing well. And I'm like, well, if we're down, we're down. We need to show them they're down, and we need to explain, try and figure out why we're down. And nobody's website and marketing goes up every single month for the entire life of the business. So,
No,
there are economic things. I mean, in Tampa, in our area, we had hurricanes last year, and that did impact the market. I mean, there are people who still aren't in their homes. And as wealthy as the area is, these are real factors. So, sometimes demand is down and I can't control that. So,
no,
but, and sometimes we make mistakes. Honestly, if you're not making mistakes, you're just not trying hard enough. So, I mean,
right.
I feel like
That's a really good point.
gotta just,
Yeah,
I'm trying different things for you, and then the algorithms can change. Google can make a change that is
yeah,
out of my control, and it may not be anything we expected at all. I mean, there's changes all the time. So these things happen, and if I'm honest with them, I think they realize that, and they know they're going to get the truth.
yeah.
um you know I think I'm not a good liar either, so if if I did lie, you'd probably know. So
Transparency goes a long
I
way
know.
for
I'm just,
sure. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It tends to work out. I mean, it always backfires if you aren't doing things for the right reason, I think. So, yeah,
Right. Absolutely.
yeah.
Awesome. Well, this has been a great chat, and I've enjoyed learning about you and alt digital marketing. What anything else you'd like to end with or share with maybe to other marketers in your space, or maybe earlier in their careers, some advice about
Yeah.
venturing into this industry?
Yeah, I mean, for my peers or anyone trying to do this, I would say hire the best people and hire faster than you think you should. Like try and outsource and hire other people that are better than you at things. Don't try and do it all because it'll bury you to try and, especially if you're doing things that aren't your forte or you hate. Do the things that light you up, and that will help your business grow. As far as, overall to the clients or anyone out there needing, looking at marketing for their medical practice, definitely hire someone. I mean, obviously, if you're a physician or you have a practice or a business, I mean, your efforts are best being done with what you're good at. Do what you're good at, and leave
Right.
leave the marketing to the experts over here. I do have, some clients who, think they know marketing, but it's definitely best to the professionals.
Awesome. Okay. Well, Aimee, how can people reach you if they want to ask you some questions or learn more about your business?
Sure. They can email me directly at Aimee, AIMEE, at Alt Digital Marketing, or you can go to my website, altdigitalmarketing.com, or you can find me on LinkedIn, and I guess we'll leave that in the show notes because that's a little longer. So.
Yeah, you got it. I'll be down there for them to find you.
Yeah. Oh, and
Awesome.
you can find me on Instagram too, and that would be alt.digitalmarketing, and that's it. Yeah.
I'm impressed you know that.
Because I love social media so much.
Awesome, Aimee. Thank you so much for joining me today, and we'll talk again soon. Okay, so I can't believe I have not heard that definition for the acronym SEO before. Search everything optimization. Cannot be more accurate than that. AI is reshaping the marketing landscape, and it requires constant adaptation. That's not a secret. And continuous learning is the key for people in the marketing space. Aimee also had some advice for other people in the industry that effective leadership involves hiring the right people and fostering a positive team culture and creating transparency with clients. Builds trust and long-term relationships, which is also great advice. If you like to reach out to Aimee, all her links and ways to communicate with her are in the show notes. So thank you for listening. I hope you have a great day, and please stay healthy.